Recommenders of Sementilli, defendants present, all counsel present, jury and also present. Officer Davis, again, you're still under oath. The defense may continue.
Officer Davis, that's where we left off before the break. We were talking about this slide 4, correct?
Yes.
And I believe you said here, you weren't sure of the exact date, but it would be whenever the Bible records ended.
That's correct.
Your Honor, I have the end of the Bible records in relation to one specific. If I may please mark it as Defense Exhibit 613. Yes. Officer Davis, I'm just showing you the last 3 pages. It's the base stamp there. Base stamp 013437. The last 3 pages of one of Sementilli's Bible records. I'm going to go to the last page. See, this is where the records end, correct?
Yes, it is.
And we see here it is January 23rd, 8:14. You see that time, correct?
Yes. Yes, it is.
And you discussed earlier in your testimony that I believe that's in EDT, Eastern Daylight Time, so you have to adjust 3 hours.
That's correct.
So that would be January 23rd, 2017 at 5:14 p.m., correct?
Yes.
So this is where the Bible records end. This date then would be January 23rd, correct?
That's correct.
Right. So, as we said earlier, this is showing that on January 23rd, 2017, when the prosecution are alleging that Monica Sementilli is orchestrating this murder with Robert Baker, there are less messages, there are fewer messages on this day than nearly all the other days in January 2017.
Objection. Argumentative.
Okay.
I want to take a look at some of the exact timing of the messages on January 23rd, 2017. I believe you referred to them in one of your slides. Hold on. This is slide 55 of your PowerPoint presentation. This shows Bible business records for the afternoon of January 23rd, 2017, correct?
That's right.
And it's showing, testified to earlier, messages on Bible between Monica Sementilli and Robert Baker, correct?
From their accounts.
From their accounts, from their numbers. Numbers attributed to them, correct?
Yes.
And as we saw from the records I showed you, at the bottom is where the records end. January 23rd, 2017 at 5:14 p.m. just before California time.
Yes.
So what we see here, you see my cursor there, just my cursor, Officer Davis. I'm just pointing out to the first record you show, which is at adjusted, I believe that's 2:48 p.m. California time. Is that right?
That's right.
So there are messages every few minutes or so, continuing down to about 3:36 p.m. Is that what you see?
Yes, it is.
Then, 3:36 p.m. California time. The next record after that, the next message after that, is at 4:46 p.m., isn't it?
Yes.
So there is a gap. There's no messaging on Viber between 3:36 p.m. and 4:46 p.m., correct?
That's right.
That's a gap of 1 hour and 10 minutes of no messaging, correct?
Yes.
We'll move on to this in more detail later, but there's a data spike, as you call it, in terms of the iDMSS app being used at 4 p.m. California time, correct? On the AT&T records.
Again, counsel, I apologize, I'm going to be very specific. So the data spike pertaining to the app is associated with the forensic extraction. And this is Sementilli's iPhone. The AT&T data shows the data spike associated with the IP address.
I see. The internal record showing the app, that's at 3:53 p.m., correct?
That's right.
So 3:53 p.m., that's within this period of no messaging from 3:36 p.m. to 4:46 p.m., correct?
Yes.
Right. Now we also know that the killers, Robert Baker, Christopher Austin, seen jogging up to the home at 4:18 p.m., correct?
I'm aware that there is some video, but I didn't focus on that particular piece of this investigation.
Well, Officer Davis then, just to be clear, so we're looking at the same thing, showing you People's Exhibit 105, which is Jake Gibson's presentation. If I may have just 1 second so I can pull it up. Upstairs.
Yes.
This is from slide 98 of People's Exhibit 105, which is Jacob's PowerPoint presentation. This is a still from a surveillance camera which shows Robert Baker and Christopher Austin jogging up to the house. You see that?
Yes.
And it's at 4:18 p.m., correct? See that there?
Is that the actual time? I note that there's a different time in the timestamp to the bottom right.
Yes, you have better eyes than me. It has been accepted that that time in the bottom right is an hour fast. So the time at the top, 4:18 p.m., is the correct time. You see that?
I see, yes.
So again, 4:18 p.m., this time, these two killers are seen jogging up. That is, within this time period, 3:36 to 4:46 p.m., when there are no Bible messages sent between Robert Baker and Monica Sementilli, correct?
That's correct.
Just to clarify for the record, this is the People's Exhibit 105. This PowerPoint presentation. This is slide 98 showing.
Slide 98, you said?
Slide 98 showing the joggers, the screenshot from the joggers running up to the Sementilli residence. Going ahead, you do another visualization here on slide 58, is that right?
Yes,
Showing liner usage, correct?
that's right.
And it has Monica Sementilli on the left-hand side, correct?
Oh, that's right.
And Robert Baker on the right-hand side, yes?
Correct.
There's nothing here showing Christopher Austin, is there?
Not on this particular slide.
And there's no Bible communications you've seen at any time between Monica Sementilli and Christopher Austin, correct?
Correct.
Slide 59. This, I believe you said, is taken from Robert Baker's Facebook Messenger account, yes?
Yes.
It's January 26th, 2017, right?
Yes.
And it is Robert Baker sending a message to Christopher Austin, correct?
That's right.
And it's Robert Baker who's saying to Christopher Austin, download WhatsApp on your phone, right?
His account, yes.
His account. It's Robert Baker's account that is sending this message to Christopher Austin, correct?
That's right.
Slide 60. This is showing believe the WhatsApp business records for the number associated with Robert Baker. Is that correct?
Yes.
And this shows that in the WhatsApp business records for Robert Baker's number, he has a contact for Christopher Austin, correct?
Yes.
And he has a contact for Monica Sementilli, correct?
That's right.
And each of them have a symmetrical contact for Robert Baker, correct?
Yes.
But there's no evidence that Christopher Austin and Monica Sementilli had each other as contacts, correct?
That's right.
Here we have WhatsApp, and you said, I believe, that WhatsApp's one of the most popular messaging apps, is that correct?
It is.
This is showing that Robert Baker registered with WhatsApp the evening of the murder, correct?
That's right.
And I think you said that this is the correct California time, that's 11:40 p.m. California time, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So that's January 23rd, 2017. And then we see that Monica Sementilli registers with WhatsApp on January 27th, 2017, correct?
Yes.
So it is Baker who registers, Robert Baker registers for WhatsApp 4 days before Monica Sementilli does, correct?
Yes.
We have another one of these link trees on slide 64, correct?
Yes.
And here we have Monica Sementilli, Robert Baker, and Christopher Austin, correct?
That's right.
I just wanted to be absolutely clear. There is no connection, no line between Monica Sementilli and Christopher Austin.
Jeff, can you cumulative? It's been
Sustained.
asked and answered multiple times.
Right. Here you have a timeline on slide 65 that shows installations of Viber and installations of WhatsApp, correct?
That's right.
And you have there that Monica Sementilli installed Viber April 9th, 2016, correct?
Jeff,
Yeah.
cumulative, Your Honor.
It is. Counsel, you want to get to the point? Let's get to the point.
What's missing from this, obviously, is when Robert Baker installed Viber, correct? Which was back on August 24th, 2015. That's not shown on that timeline, is it?
Cumulative.
I'll allow that question.
That is not on the timeline.
Right, that would go much further back before this timeline even begins, wouldn't it?
Yes.
And what's also not shown on this timeline is all the messaging and calls on Viber between Robert Baker and Monica Sementilli for all the other months from April 2016 to January 2017, correct?
That's right.
You only show the 5,752 messages in January 2017, right?
That's the data I have.
You testified earlier about emails you found that have been deleted, correct?
Yes.
There were 4 in total, right?
Yes.
These are 3 of them to do with Fabio's agenda, correct? Fabio Sementilli's agenda.
That's correct.
And these are all dated. The first is 1st of June 2016, right?
That's correct.
And the next 2 are 19th of July 2016.
Yes.
They're half a year before Fabio Sementilli was killed, correct?
Yes.
You found no other emails that have been deleted any closer to the murder, correct?
Not in this particular account.
And this was Monica Sementilli's account that would encompass all her emails, correct?
Yes, the Hotmail.
And the only other deleted email you found was in June 2016, correct?
Yes.
Let's talk about iDMSS. That is the app you use to remotely view the home security cameras, yes?
For this particular setup, yes.
And the Android equivalent is GDMSS, I believe.
Yes.
Yes. One's for iPhone, one's for Android. It's the same app.
I for iPhone, G for Google.
That's very helpful. And you've testified, so we have here, these are these, sorry, this is really more helpful, put this up, this is slide 85. These are the two corresponding apps, correct?
Yes.
And you explain at the bottom here that the way the apps connect to view the home surveillance is by connecting to the home IP address, okay?
Yes.
So the app has to connect to the home IP address in order to stream video, right?
Yes.
This shows, slide 86, when Monica Sementilli, from her iCloud business records, installed the iDMSS app, correct?
Yes.
And it was installed on June 28, 2016, right?
That's right.
So again, this was about half a year before Fabio Sementilli was killed, correct?
Yes.
Now there is no evidence, is there, of iDMSS or GDMSS being installed on any of Robert Baker's devices, correct?
No.
There's no artifacts to show that he ever used it, correct?
That's correct.
And no artifacts to show that it was ever deleted at any point, correct?
True.
This is slide 90 of your PowerPoint presentation. This is showing Monica Sementilli in Target, correct?
Yes.
This is showing her from the still looking down at her iPhone, correct?
Yes.
And this is at 4:32 p.m., right? You see that at the top.
That's correct.
And that's the correct time as it was then, California time, correct?
Yes.
I want to talk to you about these different records which show the iDMSS app. So here we have the phone's internal log. This is Monica Sementilli's internal log from her phone, correct?
That's right.
And this shows log entries that have been filtered by iDMSS. That's correct, right?
Yes.
And it's showing here that there is a log entry on January 23rd, 2017, right?
Yes.
But there are other log entries, aren't there? There are 6 others, right?
That's correct.
So there's another log entry, November 10, 2016 here, correct?
Yes.
And you haven't shown the other log entries, but there are other log entries in the months preceding this, aren't there?
Yes, there are.
Right? Is it correct that there's, I believe, one in June 2016? I can show you the photos.
Thank you.
That's the reason why memory should have it. Showing you People's Exhibit 105, slide 67. Does this appear to you to be the other log entries showing iDMSS?
Yes.
And it shows here that iDMSS accessed June 2016, yes?
Yes.
July 2016,
Yes.
2 times in August, correct, 2016,
Correct.
once in September 2016,
Yes.
and once in November 2016, right?
Yes.
So that January 23rd, that wasn't the first time she used it. She used it all those other times before, correct?
Correct.
Going back to your slides. Looking at this log entry, this is showing the app being accessed at 11:53:57 p.m., correct? But that's UTC time, right?
Yes,
So that's 3:53 p.m., correct?
that's right.
And there are no other times given, are there? It's just that 3:53 p.m.
On this particular record, that's correct.
Exactly. There's no end time. There's an end time there, but it's left blank, correct?
That's right.
Now, is it possible that the app could be accessed, it could be opened, but no video is being viewed?
That is possible.
Right. In the same way that I could open up YouTube and until I click on a specific video, it's just open, it's not actually viewing any video, correct?
Yes, however, if I may, the amount of data being transferred here is not consistent with the app just being opened.
And that's because there's a large amount of data, is that right? 32 megabytes, 32 million bytes, correct?
Right.
And that large amount of data is consistent with video being streamed, correct?
Yes.
And that's because video is a high data bandwidth activity, correct?
Yes,
It requires a lot of data to stream video, right?
it does.
And things like sending a picture or sending a text require much, much less data, right?
Yes.
So to stream video, you need millions of bytes, or at least thousands of bytes. You couldn't stream video with hundreds of bytes of data, could you?
It would be very short video.
Well, isn't it true that a byte is only enough to send text, correct?
It depends on the amount.
Well, given that video is a high data bandwidth activity, it takes, as you said here, this is consistent millions of bytes. It's consistent with viewing video, right?
It is.
It's not just the downloading of data that shows video being viewed. For this particular app, it has to connect to the IP address, correct?
Yes.
It cannot download, or sorry, it cannot stream video if it does not connect to the IP address, even if data is being downloaded.
I'm sorry, the last part of
Even
yours.
if data is being downloaded by the app. Sorry, even if data is being downloaded, it has to connect to the IP address to stream video, correct?
I apologize, I don't understand the question. If data is being downloaded, they're the same thing. If I'm streaming, I'm downloading.
Right. All right, let me put it this way for the best. Let's look at slide 95. This is your visualization, slide 95, of the iDMSS app, correct?
Yes.
So, in order to stream video, a few things have to happen. Number one is you have to be using the app, correct?
That's right.
Number two is it has to be downloading data, correct?
Yes.
And video requires a high amount of data, correct?
Yes.
In the millions or thousands of bytes, correct?
Yes.
Number three, it has to connect to the home IP address, correct?
For this particular system, that's correct.
For iDMSS, has to connect to the home IP address. All three of those things have to happen to stream video, correct?
That's right.
This record, slide 92, doesn't show connections to the home IP address, but slide 93 does, doesn't it?
That's correct.
Right. So slide 93 shows data download and connecting to the home IP address, correct?
Yes.
And the data download is in this column here, subscriber download bytes, correct?
Yes.
And domain, where it has this number, starting with 104, that is where it's connecting to the home IP address, correct?
Yes.
So here we have, let's look at the first row. 4 p.m., correct? Adjusted California time.
Yes. On the 23rd.
There is a large number of bytes, 3 million, correct?
Yes.
700,000. and there is connecting to the home IP address, correct?
Correct.
So this is consistent with streaming video because there is a large number of data being downloaded and there's connections to the home IP address at 4 p.m., correct?
Yes.
This entry, this row underneath it, also at 4 p.m., there's connection to the home IP address, but there's no bytes being downloaded. So there can be no streaming of video if no bytes are downloaded here, correct?
That is correct.
These two entries at 4 p.m. again, also underneath, no data downloaded, 0 there, so no video can be streamed, correct?
Well, that particular row does not have an associated IP address for it.
Exactly, and also it doesn't have a home IP address, so it lacks both of those things that are needed, correct?
Right.
And this row below, again, doesn't have a connection to the home IP address, so this doesn't show streaming of video, does it?
No.
And that number, 727, that's 727 bytes, that's vastly smaller than the 3,700,000, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
That's too small to show viewing video, which requires a high data bandwidth, doesn't it?
Yes.
Right. So here, let's have a look. 4:05 p.m. We have connection to the home IP address, but we have an even smaller number for data download, don't we? 252 bytes, correct?
That is correct.
So that can't show video being streamed because the data download is too small, isn't it?
Or it's a very brief video. Yes.
Here, 0 bytes, 0 data downloaded, so there just cannot be any video being streamed, can there, at 4:05 p.m.?
Not in reference to that specific log entry.
Which is at 4:05 p.m., correct?
Correct.
And all these other entries at 4:25 p.m., none of these connect to the home IP address, do they?
There's no indication of an IP address associated with those log entries.
Right, from those log entries, there is no evidence, because it would show in the domain, that they're connecting to the home IP address.
Correct.
So none of those entries at 4:25, none of those entries can show video being streamed from the iDMSS app, correct?
Not those entries, no.
Right. You were shown People's Exhibit 161. Do we have that? Sorry.
Is it the Lexi one?
You were showing this. You haven't been showing this. This is exhibit, People's Exhibit 161. Do you have been showing this?
Yes.
This is showing all the connections to the home IP address, correct?
Yes.
On January 24. There are no times, are there?
It looks like the times didn't show on this particular printout.
Right. So we don't know any of the times from this.
Not on this record. The
And
original
here,
record has them.
0, 0, 0, 0. These are all showing no data downloaded, so no video can be viewed then.
Correct.
And these are very small numbers, 160 bytes, 320 bytes, compared to the 3.7 million.
Yes.
And so these aren't consistent with video being viewed, which requires a lot of data. These are such small numbers.
That is correct.
Right. So, the only entry that is consistent with video being used or video being streamed on the iDMSS app is this entry at 4 p.m. because it has sufficiently high data download and it has a connection to the home IP address, correct?
On this particular record, yes. However, on another AT&T record, the one that is marked mobility, there is more data. And one thing that's very important to note in these records is that AT&T only keeps them in 5-minute intervals. So that may not be a holistic complete logging of absolutely all activity that takes place.
This is what you're referring to? Mobility records?
Yes.
These records do not show connections to a home IP address, do they?
No, these don't.
These show all data downloaded by any of the apps, if they're downloading data at these times, correct?
Correct.
So this doesn't show you the necessary information when it connects to the home IP address to tell you when video is being streamed, does it?
This record doesn't have IP address or destination information.
The only record that does is this one, isn't it?
Yes.
And as I've said, the only entry that has the two things you need, one, sufficiently high data, 3.7 million bytes, and two, connection to the home IP address, is the sole entry at 4 p.m., correct?
Objection, Your Honor, cumulative.
Sustained.
The entries at 4:05 p.m., 4:25 p.m. are not consistent with viewing home security camera using this app, are they?
Same objection.
Sustained.
This image at 4:32 p.m., that is half an hour after the only record which is consistent with viewing data, isn't it? At 4 p.m. Sorry, the only record that's consistent with streaming video at 4 p.m.
Just to be precise, I would say the only record that shows the IP addresses in association with viewing video via the upload and download of data.
Right. There is no entry at 4:30 p.m. that shows connections to a home IP address that we've seen, correct?
Correct.
So if she was streaming video from her phone at this time on an iDMSS, it would show an entry at 4:30 next to the home IP address, wouldn't it?
Again, because AT&T is only grabbing specific 5-minute intervals, it may not capture that. Every company has different types of logs, and AT&T keeps them specifically at 5 minutes.
Right. But if it's at 5-minute increments, this is at 4:32, there would be an entry at 4:30 or 4:35, wouldn't it?
I don't know the answer to that.
But we don't see any entries at 4:30 or 4:35 consistent with streaming video, do we?
No.
In fact, we don't see any other entries at any other time, apart from what we just looked at, consistent with streaming video, do we?
Objection, cumulative.
Sustained.
Okay, I want to show you these AT&T Internet records. These are not the full records of everything happening at every 5-minute increment time.
I don't think so. It's not a second-by-second log. AT&T just keeps them in the course of every 5 minutes.
But there are more entries than what you filtered it down to here, aren't there?
Oh, yes.
So, Your Honour, I have the AT&T records that show all of the entries during this time period. If I may mark this as Defence Exhibit, I believe 614.
Yes.
Today is showing you Defence Exhibit 614. these are all the entries here I highlighted at 4:30, correct?
That's right.
Around the same time that she is looking at her phone and the target's still, correct?
Approximately.
And it shows here, if you go to the domain name, this is where data is being downloaded from, correct?
Yes.
So it's showing that data is being downloaded at 4:30 from apple.com, yes?
Yes.
Yahoo, DNS.net, correct?
Yes.
Facebook.com, correct?
Correct.
Amazon, AWS.com,
Yes.
and this last point, which I can't read, aka MAIEDGE.net, right?
Yes.
So those are the records of what her phone is downloading at 4:30 p.m., isn't it?
That is definitely some of the activity at that time.
Right, and there's nothing here showing next to my IP address, is there?
No.
Right.
Counsel, you may have somewhat more extensive cross-examination, I take it. Is that correct?
Also a lot more guys, yeah.
Enough
that is one.
We're going to adjourn now. There are cases on this floor in which jurors have reached a verdict that is going to be taken later, and I want you out of here. So we are going to adjourn until tomorrow at 9 o'clock. The admission applies. You don't have to discuss this case either among yourselves. If anyone else, before expressing opinions or the cause is when I submit it to you. Have a good evening. See you tomorrow at 9.